So we've had the Flying Spur for a while now. I've noticed a few little things myself, but I'm no expert on Continentals. I'm becoming one, slowly, but we need to talk to people who really know their stuff. So today we've brought it up to Nigel Sandell's place in Isleworth. What these people don't know about Rolls-Royce and Bentleys of pretty much any age just isn't worth knowing. And they've particularly developed a specialism in the Continentals, the GT and the Flying Spur and all the modern Bentleys actually. So they're going to take it inside for us, plug it into their computer system, which is what you need to do with these modern Bentleys, and get it up on the lift. And well, I'm bracing myself for some bad news. Let's see how bad it turns out. Or good, who knows? So we've just got the car in the workshop. Before they put it on the diagnostics computer, they've decided to put it onto the battery charger just so the battery voltage doesn't drop while we've got the computer plugged in. And before we do that, we're just checking the health of the battery. There are two batteries in these cars. One's the main battery, really expensive big unit, and the other one's just used for starting. So it's always worth checking that they're actually up to scratch.
That's saying that the battery condition is about halfway, it's got half the capacity in it. So if you recharge it and that doesn't pick back up again, then it will say replace the battery. But if you charge it and it picks it up, then it will say battery's okay. So what they used to do in the old days is they'd have a big resistor, put it on the battery and flick a switch. So the power goes through the resistor and it will see how far the battery drops while you're doing it.
Yeah, oh, drop tester.
Yeah, that's basically what this does.
They were outlawed, weren't they, in scrapyards?
Yeah. So this one, you can see it's got 13.29 volts in it compared to that one which had 12.3. That shows that this one is always priority charge. Yes. It's always going to be up to full charge because you need that battery for the starting of the car.
We've been here 10 minutes and we're still looking at the batteries, and that gives you an idea of how complex these cars are. I mean, the amount of stuff connected to the main battery it's like some kind of industrial installation, so factory machinery or something.
Both batteries at the moment, if we charge that one up and it's fine at the end of the test, then both batteries will be fine.
Excellent.
I mean, we always would put on a check over that they are non-genuine. They're not the correct they're correct batteries, but they're not the kind of ones we would fit if we were to replace them.
Yeah, right,
they're outside instead of Bentley ones, but it's just a note to tell customers that if you do have battery problems, it's probably because they're not the best rated batteries.
It is at least an AGM battery, isn't it, though? Someone's not cheaped out to the extent
Yeah, so they haven't completely cheaped out, but yeah, they aren't. They probably had battery problems, so we fitted the new batteries to it. Yeah, so that'll just keep that up at 13.5 volts for me while we do the tests. Right, let's do the front checks.
I've noticed one problem while you're looking at the front door. When you fold the mirrors, this one comes in to say hello. It comes right past the glass. Is that something you just leave? Because it's all right.
Yeah, I mean, to fix it, it would probably be a new mounting post that the mirror motor goes onto.
Yes.
Because they have these little metal spikes that stick up, so that when it hits it, it then says, "Oh, I'm at that level." Okay. So the one for the inner one's probably broken off, so it just carries on until it hits something.
If the glass is up,
either the window,
it just stops gently. So probably worth leaving, isn't it?
It either hits the window or it won't, or it will go round until it hits another stop. Check cars over. We check seat belts, come all the way out, go all the way in on their own. Lock in, and then the most important thing is they come out under pressure, because if the car's upside down, you flipped it over, and you're in that seat belt and it won't come out with your weight on it, you're trapped in the car. So we've got to make sure that the seat belts come out properly. Do the light checks next. I mean, I've noticed that the lens is missing off of this this light cluster, so there's supposed to be like a plastic lens over the top.
It's taken a bash then, perhaps that's why.
Yeah, that's probably why it doesn't fold in properly, because it's taken a hit and they've broken the lens off it. Check that you've got side lights both sides and they're nice and bright. Headlights both sides.
The lenses aren't too cloudy on this car.
No, they're quite good.
Got pitted lenses, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, it's showing signs of UV crazing, but it's not too bad. It's the UV that makes them go yellow. But we can always, what we've done before is polish them. If you polish them at the front, they'll come up nice and clear again. Just checking that both inner ones come on. Right, then we'll check our indicators. So left.
Yep.
And then it should be indicating up on that wing mirror as
yes,
well.
it is, yeah.
And then right, one there.
Yep.
One there. So the lights work on here, but it
Yeah.
might not work for long if it's got water going into it.
Yeah, I'll get that fixed.
And then we'll check the back. Reverse. Numbers, brakes.
Yeah, top there, left and right. Yeah, yeah, forward. Yeah, all there.
Cool. And then we'll check horn. Horn works.
Yeah, I
And
used that
then
earlier.
We'll check the wipers to clear the screen. All right, so straight away I'd say you'd need at least one wiper blade on it because it's
It's a bit smeary, isn't it?
smeary and it's
Yeah.
jumping. You can hear it jump across the screen.
Yes.
We should get some headlamp washers come up.
Yep, they're working. Yeah.
So then going through the lists, when we do the interior checks, we're checking the interior lights, the seats move back and forward, the seat belts work correctly. When you start the car, it should clear off. So when you put the ignition on, you should get all the warning lights come up. Start it, they should all then go out. This car's got an engine management light on, so that gets written down as
Yeah. I read the code. It's to do with secondary air injection.
Yeah, so the two main fault codes I get with engines are secondary air injection, either bank 1 or bank 2. It can be the sensor fault, so if it says sensor circuit, it's usually just a sensor, it's fairly easy to do, fairly cheap. If it says insufficient flow,
It says insufficient flow.
it's a pump. If it's bank 1, I have to take the wing off. I
Yeah.
have to take the bumper off, the wing off, the headlight out to get to it, because it's right up at the top here.
Yeah.
If it's number 2, I can do it by just taking the wheel off and doing it because it sits down here in the bumper.
Okay.
So hopefully it's bank 2. The other code you get that's fairly common is exhaust gas temperature sensor.
Yes.
That brings up a code. That's just making sure that the catalytic converter is getting hot enough,
Yeah.
quick enough. So again, there's a couple of hours work, but they're not too difficult generally.
Someone's looked after it, I think.
Yeah, it looks like quite a good car,
Given the mileage.
exterior-wise.
And we've already talked about the boot lid.
And we've already talked about the
electric
boot lid,
boot's
yeah.
not
so
working.
Boot lids are very common on GTs, Flying Spurs, anything with this style of electronic boot lid. They are very common for them failing. The motors tend to fail or the hinges tend to get rusty and then stop lifting when you operate the boot.
Yeah.
Your hinge has had a lot of work done to it.
Yeah, you might not have noticed this.
Not necessarily.
There's some welding been done to the
Yeah.
hinge here. So, and whoever did it clearly couldn't manage to get the gasket back in either. So it's not been the best job, has it? And it doesn't
and
work.
I don't know what they've done with grinding that off.
Oh yeah, God.
It's a bit strange.
We think someone's had to break into the boot lid at some point. There's some marks on the bumper and there's some marks on the paint here, and there's a homemade cable release, and we think they probably had a customer's luggage stuck in the boot and they had to somehow jemmy the boot open in order to get the customer's luggage out.
Yeah.
And probably this was what caused the problem, and so yeah, it's probably fractured and been welded back up or something, but who knows, that's all in the past, and we need to either put up with it because you can press the button and just shut the boot, or we need to get it fixed.
So in the engine bay,
It's so tightly packed,
it's
isn't it?
so tightly packed. This is what I was talking about with doing the headlights. I mean, look at the gap you've got to get round the back of that headlight. It's barely big enough to get my hand in there. So under the bonnet, we're looking at condition of your pollen filters, which are built into your bonnet. Sucks the air in through the bonnet and then down through the
Inside the
pollen
double
filters.
skin.
Yeah, so it's a double skin bonnet. It pulls it in up here or through here and then out through here.
Yes.
So it actually pulls it through your pollen filters. Check that they're all right. These again look like they're non-genuine because the Bentley ones have a carbon black side and then a white side for the filters. This just looks like a standard MAN filter, not non-genuine. Again, not an issue. It still does the same thing.
Yeah, we're still getting air through.
It's just one of the things that we know that it's been serviced somewhere that doesn't use genuine parts. It's a bit hot to check the coolant now, because if I take that off, we might end up getting sprayed with some boiling hot coolant, so I'm not going to touch that for now. We check the brake fluid level and also colour and condition. Because brake fluid is hydroscopic, it draws moisture in from the air. You see how it's sort of going this green colour?
Yeah.
I would recommend that would be replaced. I mean, brake fluid should be changed every 2 years.
Yes.
Just because of this hygroscopic property. If you don't do it often enough, you get too much water in the brake fluid. When the brakes get too hot, it'll boil the water in the fluid and you'll lose your brakes.
Yeah.
So we're very important that we make sure that the brake fluid is changed fairly regularly. So that's going to go down as a. I mean, it's not a fail.
No, it's a recommendation.
Definitely a recommendation. And the other pitfall of these engines, if you get engine management lights coming on with misfires, make sure that dipstick locks into that dipstick tube, because there's a little plastic topping on that dipstick tube.
Yes.
That gets hot, gets cold, gets hot, gets cold, breaks, cracks, falls apart. Then that doesn't seal your dipstick tube properly. Any air getting into the crankcase that's not supposed to be there through your dipstick tube causes a misfire, causes it to run weak. So that's quite a common fault, or quite a common thing we look for, is that tube is in good condition.
Yeah, right.
I mean, for like £3 or £4 to replace that tube, it saves a whole load of headaches and things later on. So we check that, make sure that's okay. Power steering fluid, make sure that the fluid level's okay, so that one's okay, that's pretty good. And also condition again, make sure it's not black or burnt. But when we drive it in, we're listening for any squeaks or any non-sort of standard noises, which would indicate failing pumps or failing alternators, things like that. So it sounded good when it came in, and the fluid level is good and clean, so we're happy that that's...
Yeah, it doesn't seem to leak
fine.
anything.
These cars generally don't. They're very, very good.
While John gets some more tools out, we're looking pretty good, I think, so far. Everything pretty much works, except the boot, which we knew about. Got a couple of little blemishes in the bodywork, which we knew about. I think they're pointless dent removal. You know, they'd be an easy job to fix, to make it look mint. Yeah, and we're missing a lens off the driver's door mirror. It's not so bad. As far as the outside's concerned, things are looking pretty good, but of course we've opened the bonnet now, so...
So yeah, these, they're okay.
Yeah.
They're a bit dirty.
Seen worse,
but,
yeah.
But they are okay. I mean, it would go down as an amber. You could do with changing them at some point, but you could probably get away with another year out of those.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
They're not too bad. They're not too full. Just have a look from the top at the auxiliary drive belt.
There's a cable tie here. Don't like the look of that.
That's holding the plug in, which
suggests someone's been there.
Could be why we've got a fault on. This is the secondary air injection sensor.
Yes.
So they've snapped a bolt off in the pipe down there.
Oh yeah.
So there's no bolt holding the other side of that sensor on. And they've cable tied the sensor plug onto the sensor because they've probably, they've broken off the little tab there.
Right. Yeah.
That locks it on.
Yeah.
Is
the missing bolt a problem? Would it be
it
causing
might
a
not
leak?
be.
Or
No, because if it's
just
coming up with a pump fault, the sensor's working. The sensor's saying there's not enough air coming through. The other thing we check is the pipes underneath here for the ABS sensor, the ABS modulator. Make sure they're not corroded. I mean, generally it looks pretty good. It's a little bit dusty under here, but it looks pretty good. We've not really got any. We got a tiny bit of weeping from the rocker cover or the cam cover gasket.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Again, that's okay for now. It's not a
lot.
lot. Just keep an eye on it. If it gets worse, then we'll do that. You have to take the inlet manifold off to get down to it, and they're quite difficult to do, but they're not impossible. You can do them with the engine in. The other thing I tend to check when I've got the bonnet up is the condition of the radiator from the front, making sure there's no big holes or dents or anything in the radiator. It's not blocked up with bugs or debris from driving, and that the radiator itself isn't starting to fall apart, which this one is starting to come apart a little bit at the bottom. The aluminium fins tend to start rotting out.
Yeah.
So again, we'll take it up in the air and we'll have a look at the back of it, because what you tend to see is the bottom of the radiator balloons out.
Yes.
So we'll have a look at that when we get up in the air. But otherwise, for the engine bay, it looks pretty good. So straight away we've got 12 engine faults, probably misfires mainly.
So I scanned it with some software that I've got, which is supposedly pro-level VAG group software.
Yeah.
And it came up with, I think, 3. But you've got the proper software and it's found us so much more.
Yeah, so mainly it's all in engine control module 1, which is bank 1, so it'll be the right-hand side of the engine. We've got secondary injection system, insufficient flow, which is what we talked about before.
Yep.
So unfortunately that is bank 1, so it looks like I'm going to have to take the front wing, the bumper and headlight out to get to it.
So that'll be a pump.
Yeah, so that will be a pump more than likely. Gas temperature sensor circuit, bank 1, secondary injection system, insufficient flow, and then lots of intermittent faults that would probably clear out O2 sensor voltages. Some of them could be because the battery's gone flat, probably where the battery's gone flat before and they've not cleared it out properly. So what we would do, we'd get the codes come up, I'd drop all of the sort of main, so they've got like the main section which says where the fault is, and then you drop that down, it tells you what the faults are. Drop down all of these faults, and then I can print it and save it as a printout, and then when we clear it, we can check the two next to each other to see what comes back, and that will give us more of an information about what's actually going on. So you've got O2 sensor faults as well, bank 1, sensor 1. Depending on which sensor it is, it's either engine removal or you can get to it. The O2 sensors are right at the back of the engine. They're very difficult to get on. I have managed to do them before by undoing the engine mounts and dropping the engine down on the ramp. So there are workarounds. I mean, anything like this, Bentley just says take the engine out.
Yes, I know, yeah.
So we try and...
Let's take the car out of the engine, really, isn't it?
Yeah, basically. But we try and do as much in situ without having to do that as possible. We will clear those codes out and then see what stays in it, and that will give us more of an information about what's wrong with it. I mean, you'll probably find that the secondary injection codes will clear out now, but they'll come back on, so the light, so when you take it out for a spin again, the light might pop up and you'll know exactly what that problem is. Well, I cleared the codes out and now I've restarted the car, because sometimes it won't log a fault code in the car until the engine's run, then the sensors will check it. I've run the car and rescanned it, and now it's come back with exhaust gas temp sensor bank 2 static straight away. So that's definitely a code we've got to sort out. And the airflow bank 2 sensor circuit for secondary air injections also comes straight back on. So they definitely need sorting out.
Yeah. So now we've plugged the laptop in and John's run through everything that he can find. It's good and bad. We haven't got that much wrong with it, but we have got a couple of issues that could be quite expensive. It's to do with the extra air injection on a cold start for emissions purposes. So we might need an air injection pump, and there's a couple of sensors we're not sure about either, so who knows. It might not be costing us too much just yet.
The carrier is not tight, that holds the strut in. Yeah, that's not even bolted in.
There's a bolt missing.
Well, it looks like it. There's no bolt there.
Oh Lord, that's not right.
The bolt missing from that top plate. I'll have a look at that one.
So that's quite bad news.
Yeah. Thing is, we keep those bolts in stock, so if it's just the bolt's missing or has come out, we can replace the bolt.
Oh, brilliant.
I was just checking the wheel bearing. The whole thing moved.
So we found out what was causing the alarming movement at the front right wheel. We opened the bonnet, had a look at the strut top mounts. There are 3 bolts hold it on. 2 out of the 3 bolts were just finger tight, or they weren't even finger tight, one of them was just loose. So yeah, they're stretch bolts, so they're not meant to be reused, and we think that's what's happened. Someone's reused the stretch bolts and they've just not kept their tension. So luckily, they've got some brand new ones in stock here, so we're fitting new stretch bolts. Hopefully the entire strut won't fall out on the M4 on the way home. That's what I'm hoping for. So it's fairly obvious that the strut's been taken out and replaced. The strut looks like a replacement one, fairly obviously cleaner and newer than the rest of the car. So to find the original bolts means they've definitely been reused when they shouldn't have been. So we're going to torque them up properly now. It should be 50 Newton meters plus 45 degrees.
Yeah, so you do 50 Newton meters first. Even though that was finger tight, it's still got quite a long way to go for it to be tight. That one worried me.
You worried me. Yeah.
Just make sure the first one is still 50. Because sometimes when you do them up, the first one will loosen. And then we'll do 45. One. Just means an extra 45 degrees of rotation on the bolt.
Yeah.
To make sure that it stretches that bolt out.
So the 45 degrees is the stretch element of the timing.
Now that we've sorted out that top arm, we're going to take it back up to halfway, double check, make sure that there's no other movements that were hidden by the fact that the top plate was moving. And then we'll take the wheels off, check the brakes, take it up in the air, check everything underneath, see if there's anything else to find. Yeah, so now that's not moving at the top. So the other thing I check when I'm doing the suspension with it halfway up is the top arms themselves. They move and return back to where they're supposed to be, but this one, as you can see, it's sliding along the metal inner bush. It just slides along. So that top arm also needs replacing. You see this one returns back to where it originally was. These top arms are fine. Got good spring back movement on them, so there's no problems with those. It's just the one rearward one, but we would also say if you're doing the one, while we're there, we might as well do the second one so that they're both new. Let's have a gap in them in the middle of the pad that sort of gives me a gauge on how thick they are. If this did have a gap in it, it's now below.
Yeah, it's definitely gone, hasn't it, if there was a gap.
Usually it's about in the middle here, so I'd say that's fairly close to the point where you'd need to replace them. I mean, the inner one tends to wear a little bit quicker than the outer one because it's where the pressure is. It pushes on that one first. Yeah. So if that one's that low, the other one's going to be slightly lower. Yeah. So it pulls the caliper sideways. Yeah. That would go down as a advisory, perhaps getting low. And a CV boot split is a MOT fail because it means the drive shaft is prone to getting full of water and rust, which affects steering. So you have to be careful with it.
So we've looked at it from ground level, and we've addressed the problem with the movement in the strut top. So now we're just going to lift it up and have a proper look underneath, see what we find.
Straight away there's a different bush in the suspension arms than I was expecting.
Are these poly bushes?
Yeah, they look like poly bush, which is, some people see them as upgrade bushes.
Yeah. Strange thing to do on a car like this, isn't it?
Yeah, personally with this kind of car, I wouldn't mess around with anything, change it to out of factory. Otherwise, again, it's pretty dry underneath. No oil leaks, nothing like that.
We're
no
missing
coolant leaks.
part of the under tray, aren't we?
You are missing the whole front under tray. The bolts are still in, so it's been ripped off. Probably because he's gone over a sleeping policeman or...
Well, that might explain this damage here. And there's some wood here. Well, it is a Bentley after all, but I was expecting a better standard of wood, to be honest, with maybe a bit of veneer and not so many staples.
Yeah, so someone's done a quick repair to that bumper.
Quick and horrible repair.
All of the front piers cracked.
For a standing height, you can't see this damage, can you? But
no.
So it's not too bad, but there's cable ties holding this on. It probably wants an under tray just to hold it all back together again.
Just to hide it.
Well, to hide it, yeah.
Your drive belt, the smallest pulley I'm looking at is the alternator, because that's the biggest angle it's got to go around. If it cracks there, then you're going to have a problem. So, drive belt actually looks like it's been replaced at some point. It looks very good. So, I mean, that looks all right. The other thing I'm looking at are these pipes for the power steering. They tend to corrode really badly on these joints here. This one doesn't look too bad, but I've seen them before where it's split the pipe at the back here, where it's rusted. They have them there and they have them up in the wheel arch. You'd have to take the whole wheel arch liner out to see it. But I mean, generally, if they're not too bad on here, they're not too bad up the top. The thing to note is the radiator starting to blow along the inside of it. So the aluminium fins have started to collapse and the radiator started to bow downwards. Keep an eye on it. It doesn't mean it's necessarily an instant problem,
Yeah, I haven't
over
noticed any
time-
fluid leaks at all under it, so it's obviously holding for now.
Yeah, but over time you might find that it starts to overheat a little bit, or the heat goes up at that point. I would
Yeah.
say definitely.
Okay, well I know what it is at least.
But if you get it serviced every year, every time you check it, you'll have a look at this and make sure it hasn't gotten any worse.
Yeah.
But that happens with these cars over time. The aluminium just blows on it. Work our way back, check the exhaust bit. You can see where someone's hit a speed bump. or
I think
something.
whatever
Probably-
they've hit has come all the way along.
Yeah, they've taken out the front under tray, they've scratched this up, they've taken a load of the reinforcement off of the flexi joints here. It even looks like it's scraped along the heat shields at the back here. It's not too bad though. You've got a rattle in your exhaust box at the back here. It sounds like it's probably a baffle inside, because they have plates to slow the air down to quieten the exhaust. This side's all right, but this side.
I'm slightly disappointed now I look at it on the lift to see that the exhausts are fake, aren't they? The two little round ones
Yeah.
inside the big finisher.
Yeah, so the big finisher looks like a big exhaust, but it's actually two small ones. The reason they've got two is up here you've got a valve that switches between the two. One of them's just a straight pipe through the baffle,
Yeah.
makes it louder in sport mode. So when you put your foot down in sport mode, it opens up that flap and you get all the noise come out of it. When it's in normal driving mode, it's a bit quiet.
That's when you've moved the lever to S.
Yes. Hooligan mode, I say. The other thing that's quite common on these, one of them has gone, but the exhaust clamps here in the middle, they corrode and then they crack. So you've got a crack along the back of this one.
Okay.
If that does come off, the bottom back box will drop down and catch on the floor. So if we see that, we tend to say that's fairly important to get done, otherwise you might end up with a exhaust drop off. But I mean, generally it looks all right. All the brake hoses look pretty good. There's no cracks or wear on there. They're all pretty good. There's a few peeling paint on the drive shafts, but again, the CV boots on these rear ones, because they don't need to steer, they very rarely have any problems with them. They're just straight boots. Fuel hoses, fuel tank looks all right. What I was worried about with that damage on the front is someone's maybe taken a big lump out of the fuel tank at the back, which is just here. But no, it looked quite good. Generally, underneath it's all right. I mean, the bushes have been done, so you don't have to worry so much about the suspension.
Yeah, they're not
on
what
the
you
front.
choose, but they
have been
done, haven't they?
replaced,
Yeah, and
yeah.
the damage is fairly obvious at the front from a. It's not been crashed, has it? It's just been
No, I
it's
think
run
it's
into
just
a speed bump.
someone's gone over a speed bump a little bit too aggressively.
What do you think, John? Having had it up in the air, what do you think?
Generally, it's not too bad of a car. The fact that we've had the bushes have been replaced and the right strut's been replaced,
Yeah.
and the fact that the back end's got a few rattles on it because the under tray's free probably means the pump's
Yeah.
been replaced as well. So
Yeah, true.
suspension-wise, she's probably going to be quite good.
So a fairly honest car then,
Yeah, not too
and,
bad.
and a few little jobs to do to make it actually mechanically as good as it actually looks, I guess.
A few bits here and there. Brakes need a little bit of work on them. CV boot needs to be done, but
And maybe
nothing-
and the air injection pump could be a costly job, but the rest of it's
the
pretty
rest of it's not
straightforward,
too
isn't
bad. It's fairly straightforward, yeah.
So I have to say I was expecting a lot worse. So 15 grand Bentley with 144,000 on the clock. Yeah.
Yeah, you could have had a lot worse. I mean, luckily these cars, generally the W12s are very, very strong in the way of engines and leaks and things like that. They don't get too many things. So it's what I would have expected on any car, let alone a 140,000 mile car. So.
Yeah. Well, thanks for your time.
That's all right, it's not a problem.
And thanks to Nigel Sandell for accommodating us and sharing their knowledge with us.